So, am I audible? Sinchana, Subramanya.
Audible.
Okay. So now, in the last class, we were discussing about the basic operations on the signal. Okay. So we have seen the basic operation on dependent variable as well as the independent variable, and also you have to see the precedence and priority what you need to give while performing the signal operations. So we have seen that we need to perform shifting operation always the first priority, then you can do for either scaling or reflection. Okay. So that is what we have done, and also we have seen some simple problems. So now we will go on to the next very important signal, so which is impulse function. Today we will see impulse function. Okay. So now what is this impulse function? Okay. So this impulse function we can define in the discrete domain. Okay. So in the discrete domain as del of n, which is equal to, this is 1 only at n equal to 0. Okay. So only at n equal to 0 it is 1, otherwise it is 0. Okay. So otherwise it is 0. So this is what the impulse function which we need to define in the discrete domain. So now how it will actually in the plot it will look like. So if we take this as n, okay, so now this will be your impulse function. Okay, only at the particular value, that is n equal to 0, which will take the value as 1, otherwise these are all 0. Whatever other values of n if you take, so it will be a 0. Okay. So now in the summation form also we can define this one as del of n, which is equal to sigma k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity del of k, so which is equal to 1. Okay. So this is what we need to define in the summation form, or you can even change the variable as n equal to 0 minus infinity to plus infinity del of n equal to 1. So the variable you can change anything. Okay. So this is what we need to define for impulse function. And one more important property of this impulse function is the shifting property. Okay, what we'll call it as shifting property. Okay, so what is this shifting property? So the shifting property is we can define in terms of summation as like sigma k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Say for example, if you take any signal x of n, and if you multiply it with del function, which is a shifted version, okay, that will be given as x of n. So what is this in the sense is, so just if you have seen the impulse function, now if you just take the shifted version of impulse function, okay, if you take a shifted version of impulse function, say for example at n equal to n naught, the impulse is shifted, that is n equal to n naught. Now how this will be defined? Del of n minus n naught. So this is del of n minus n naught, which is equal to 1. Okay. So this is what the shifted impulse. So this we'll call it as the shifted impulse. So the same shifted impulse we have used here. Okay. So at any value of the k, okay, shifted value of k, so this is the shifted impulse, and this is any signal you take x of k or x of n. So here I have used the variable k. Okay. So x of k into shifted version of del of n minus k, which is equal to x of n. So where this del function will become 1, where this del function will become 1 when n equal to, that is k, that is, or if you take the variable which is k, when it becomes equal to n, okay, when this k which is become equal to n, so then this impulse function will be equal to 1. So then what is the value of x of k at k equal to n, which is nothing but x of n. So that's how the impulse will actually function on other signals. Okay, so this is important property, and we will use in future also while using other problems like convolution and later. Okay, so this is very important property of the impulse function, that is shifting property. Okay, so is it understood? So this
Sir,
is what
why we only consider n is equal to 0? What is the impulse function actually denoting?
So this impulse function, so the function definition itself, it is like this, which is always 1 at n equal to 0 only. Okay, because the value which is exist, so if you consider the time domain, that is continuous domain also, then you can come to know what is actually the impulse. It is a very small area where exactly at the 0, whatever time 0 or the discrete time n equal to 0, it will become a value 1. Okay, so is it fine? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is defined like that. Okay, the impulse function characteristics, the definition which is defined, it is a abrupt change, the very small value of area it is considering. So we will discuss in the continuous time how it is happening. Okay, so in the
Sure.
discrete domain, it is a single value at n equal to 0. Okay, so now if you consider the continuous time, so you know that del of t, we will define it as del of t. So that is the integration from minus infinity to plus infinity. So del of t into dt, which is equal to 1. So that means the area under this impulse function, which will be equal to 1. So now how to represent that in the waveform or in the plot form? So just if you define the area, which is defined it as sum minus a by 2 to plus a by 2, and this height of this pulse, okay, which is equal to 1 by a, let us take. Okay, so this is a time domain. So now at time t equal to 0, so this area of the impulse is very much small. Okay, okay, so now if you just take the definition in the calculus, say for example limit a tends to 0. Okay, so this del a of t, which we can define it as del of t. That means this, whenever this area or a, the value which is defined here, okay, the value which is defined here it as a, and this is 1 over a. Okay, so now whenever this a tends to 0, so what will happen, your the amplitude, it is go to infinity, something like this. Okay, if you just take this one, if this width increases, the amplitude will going to decrease, and if this width go on decreasing, so your impulse will become very short duration of pulse. Okay, so like this, when this width a tends to 0, then your 1 by a tends to infinity. So that means your the pulse which will, if you zoom it, then only it will look like as a pulse, otherwise it is just a line. So that's we will call it as the impulse. Okay, it is a very short duration. Okay, so that's how we will define this impulse. Whenever this a tends to 0, so then your 1 by a tends to infinity, and you will define that as impulse function in the continuous form. Okay. So this is what the impulse in the continuous domain. Okay. So only the del of t which is equal to, so 1 at only time t equal to 0 and 0 otherwise. At all other values of time t it will become 0. So this impulse, the area, so only at time t equal to 0 we need to consider between the value minus a by 2 to plus a by 2 if we define it as the width of the pulse as a, okay, and the height of the pulse as 1 by a. Okay. So this is the unit impulse in time domain. Okay. And if you just consider the property which we seen, that shifting property in time domain also. Okay, that is shifting property in time domain also. So if you take that minus infinity to plus infinity, so any signal which is x of k, which is del of n minus k, okay, into n minus or n minus t into dt. So which is, sorry, this is in the discrete domain, no? So this is t minus t naught will take in the time domain. Okay, x of t x of t into del of t minus t naught. So what it will happen? So this is a shifted version of impulse, okay, at t equal to t naught. So then what will happen? This will become x of t naught, x of t naught. Okay. So this is what the shifting property. And also one more thing, if you note down here, which is minus infinity to plus infinity, if you take x of t into just del of t, that is not shifted version, then at x of 0 only you will get the value, that is only at t equal to 0. So this is what the value. So x of t into del of t into dt, always the variable in the integral it will be dt. Okay. So this is a shifting property, and this the same if you multiplied any signal with the impulse function, so it will give the value of the signal only at time t equal to 0. Okay. So this is what, so if you represent that one in the time domain, so it will be just a value which is at t equal to 0. Okay. So this is a time. So this is what the impulse function in the time domain. And one more important property, if you take the scaling property of the impulse, that is del of t. So if you just define it as del of at, so then we'll just, so the resultant will be 1 over a into del of t. This is the actual scaling property of the impulse function. Scaling property. Okay. So this is another important property, and this will be defined it as like this. Okay. So this is what the impulse function. So you need to be careful while dealing with this impulse function. Okay. And even another very important, it is if you take del of minus t, that is if you replace the t by minus t, again it will give the same signal which is del of t. That means this will be an even signal, we can call it as this one, it as even signal, it possesses the property of even signal. Okay. So this is what the important properties, so of the impulse function in the time domain. Okay. And even it will apply for the discrete domain also. Okay. So this is fine. And one more important, we have already seen that the unit step function. Okay. So now this del of t we can express in terms of unit step function also, that is del of t, if you take a derivative of the u of t, that is d by dt of u of t, you will get the impulse function. This is another important property, and from the unit step function, if you take the derivative, then you will get the impulse function. Okay. So this is also another important one. If you want the u of t back, then you can take minus infinity to t. So if you take del of t into dt, you will get the value of u of t. Okay. So even you can change the variable because t is already there, so you can just take del tau into d tau. Okay. So del of tau into d tau minus infinity to t. So this will give you back the unit step function. Okay. So these are the two important equations you will use for calculating from u of t how to arrive the impulse function, and from impulse function how to arrive the unit step function. Okay. So this is what the impulse function properties. And also the derivative we can go on continue that del double derivative of t, and go on del nth derivative of t, like that. Okay. So that we can define in terms of limits. Okay. Okay. So if you want to derive the first derivative, that is del dash of t, which is equal to limit. So as I said here, so we can use the impulse function between minus a to plus a, or minus a by 2 to plus a by 2, and this will be a. So even you can change the variable that in standard definitions it will be used as epsilon. Okay. So this height we can use it as epsilon. Just for understanding purpose I put a, and this in standard notations, because you should not confuse with the notation. The standard notation it is used as epsilon. Okay. So the same I am using here. So epsilon tends to 0. So del of t minus epsilon naught by 2, or epsilon by 2, minus del of t, this is t plus epsilon by 2, and this is t minus epsilon by 2. So this is 1 over epsilon is there here. Okay. So this is what the first derivative of impulse. Okay. And similarly you can take nth derivative, so which is we can apply this one to find out what is the derivative of the signal x of t. Say for example, if you define minus infinity to plus infinity, that is del dash of t into dt. So that is del dash of t into dt, which is equal to, actually derivative of constant is always 0. So you know that the impulse function at t equal to 0 it will become 1. So 1 into dt, so it will be constant, it will be 0. Okay. So this is what and if you apply it for any signal, that is minus infinity to, say for example, up to infinity, which is x of t into del dash of, so t minus t naught, say for example shifted impulse derivative into dt, then what will happen? So we will get the d by dt of the derivative of x of t at t equal to t naught. Okay. At t equal to t naught. So this is the first derivative if you apply the first derivative to any signal x of t. Okay. So this is what the first derivative. In the similar way you can put it as second derivative. Okay. So in the similar way you can put it as second derivative, and here it will become del double dash of t, and limit epsilon tends to 0, 1 by epsilon del dash of t plus e by 2 minus del of t minus, that is del dash of, so we will write that one. So the double derivative. Okay. So if you define the double derivative of t, which is equal to limit epsilon tends to 0 and 1 over epsilon into del dash of t plus epsilon by 2 minus del dash of t minus epsilon by 2. Sorry. T minus epsilon by 2. So this is the first derivative. So now we can write this one as, so d square by dt of del of t. Okay, so this we can write it as double derivative, or you can write it as d by dt of del dash of t, that is the first derivative. Okay, so then this will be the, we already know the first derivative, again this is d by dt of limit epsilon tends to 0 del of, that is del of t plus epsilon by 2 minus del of t minus epsilon by 2. So this divided by epsilon, I will just put the 1 by epsilon here only. Okay, so this is what we can write it as, and we can write in terms of del square, which is if you apply for x of t, say for example minus infinity to plus infinity, x of t into del square of t minus t naught. So you can, if you apply for a signal which will be equal to, what you will get, so that it will be given it as d square by dt square, so here dt square is there, dt square of x of t. Okay, so only at t equal to t naught. Okay, so in the similar way, if you define for nth derivative, which is minus infinity to plus infinity, x of t into del power n of t minus t naught into dt, which we can define it as d power nth power of t by dtn, which is into x of t only at t equal to t naught. Okay, only at t equal to t naught, whatever the nth derivative you take, so that will be derivative of this x of t at t equal to t naught. So this is what the actual the impulse function property when we apply to the any signal x of t. So this is what the derivatives of impulse function. Okay, so is there any doubt? So this epsilon, as I said, when the signal, if you define the impulse signal, so this value of epsilon depends on the width and height. So this is what the height 1 by epsilon, and this is what the width epsilon. So that's how you have to take the values whenever the problem gives epsilon and 1 by epsilon. If they are asking for the derivatives, then you need to use the values, and if you generally they will ask for the application of this impulse into any signal x of t, then you have to perform like this. Okay, so any signal x of t, if they give, say for example, if you take just x of t equal to t. Okay, now if you perform to calculate this shifted version of this one or the derivative, so say for example find out the second derivative if they ask. Okay, so if they say for example they have given x of t equal to t, so now they will ask perform this, so the second derivative, that is del double dash of t minus t naught, okay, into dt. So now what will happen? So now we will take this as d square of dt square x of t at t equal to t naught. Okay, now for now t naught is 0 now. Okay, there is no shifted version of the signal. So now what will happen? So that just d square by dt square of x of t. Okay, so just x of t you substitute, what will happen? D square by dt square of t. So what will happen? Double differentiation if you do. So if you just differentiate first time, it will become 1, and another time it will, if you differentiate it as, so it will become, that is what it will become, the double derivative, that is d by dt of,
0, sir.
yeah, 0. So
Constant.
constant it is, it will become 0. So that's how the signal it will be applied to, that impulse signal will be applied to x of t. Say for example, if it is a shifted version, something like t minus 3, what will happen? You have to first evaluate x of t, the derivative, then apply at t equal to t naught, that is t naught is 3. At t equal to 3, what will happen? You have to apply and you have to do it. Okay. So like that we need to perform the signal operation when we use the impulse function. Okay. So this is what the impulse function, which is very important in the signals and system. Is it fine? Any doubt till now? Okay. So now we'll go another important aspect, that is systems can be viewed as interconnection operations, used as interconnection operations. Okay, systems can be viewed as interconnection operation. So now what is this interconnection operation? So now we have x of n, say for example in the discrete time, and we give it to a system which is the system which is h, and you will get the y of n. Okay, so this is what how the system will be viewed it as. Okay. So now if you say for example, if I just shift, okay, by 1, the input signal, if I shift by 1, what will happen? The output, if it is shifted by 1, now how can we represent this y of n? Okay, or just if you take just a y of n, the output, so that will come later, the shifted version of output. So just if you take y of n, the input signal is a shifted version of the signal, that is x of n minus 1. This is a h. So now how we can define this one? So this can be in terms of shift operations, we can define it as, and this will be defined as y of n equal to, so yes, so because it is a shifted version of the signal, and we can define it as yes. So or if you take 2 or more signals, the input signals, okay, something like this, say for example, or you can take it as this one, y of n equal to s, and s times the input signal x of n, because this s denotes the shifted version, how much it is going to shift. Okay, so that if you, the better understanding, you can take it as one running time average system, that is y of n, which is equal to, say for example, it is a summation of x of n minus 1 plus x of n plus x of n minus 2. Say for example, this is the output signal, and these are the shifted version of an input signal, and addition of these signal will give the output signal y of n. So now if we represent that signal in terms of shift operator, how it will be? So they say for example, this is the x of n input signal, and you will be having a shift operator. So one time shift, the one value which is shifted. So then you will get here x of n minus 1. Okay, And the similar way, this signal if you give it as another shift operator yes, okay, so this will give x of n minus 2. Okay. So now how we can get the y of n output? By adding all these signals. Okay. So now how we will get? Just add using summation. I added x of n, I need to add x of n minus 1, and also I need to add x of n minus 2. Okay. So then I will get the output signal y of n. Okay. So this is what the interconnection operations. This is y of n. Okay. So you can see here, so the signals are interconnected and it is yielding the output. Okay. The shifted version of the signals all are interconnected, so such that you need to get the output. So that's how the system can be viewed as the interconnection operation. So different signals whatever you are taking, they are all connected and it is giving the output. So this is what the meaning. Okay. So now if you take the S as a shifted one unit, which is n minus 1, and in the similar way if you just take y of n, which is n plus 1. Okay. If you take another example, which is actually x of n plus 1, if the signal possesses this n plus 1, so then how we can write it as shifted signal. Okay. So x of n plus 1, x of n, and x of n minus 1. Now how this signal can be viewed? So this is actually the, we can represent it as s power minus 1, because so we have taken x of n minus 1 as s. Okay. So whatever the if n plus 1, if you just take and represent it as x of n minus of minus 1. Okay. So this minus 1 we are representing in terms of s power minus 1. Okay. So whatever the value of the shifting in the signal, that will be represented as s power minus 1. In the similar way, if you take x of n plus 2, so then we can represent this one as s power minus 2. Okay. So now you can draw this one in terms of the system interconnects, how it will be look like. So you can see how it will be look like. So which is, so x of n will be there. Okay. So this is a shifting by 1 unit, which is s. You will get x of n minus 1. Okay. In the similar way, you take another system which is gives rise to s power minus 1, then you will get the x of n plus 1. Okay. So now how the y of n it will come? The same x of n. Okay. The same x of n, you have to add it to summation. Okay. So if you give this to this summation, and this system will yields your y of n. Okay. So this is how you will realize the signal, the output signal y of n, which is which you have earlier we have defined x of n plus 1 plus x of n plus x of n minus 1. So this is how the output signal we will going to viewed as a system interconnects. Okay. So in the similar way, you can just take another example and you try to do that. So if I give y of n, which is equal to x of n plus 2 plus x of n minus 2, just do this one, how we will get, we will see. So have you done it? So how it will be look like if you take
x of n,
yeah, if you take x of n,
and then 1 is connected to x of n plus 2
yeah, so you just take s and
minus 2.
and since we need to
Huh.
go for 2 units, you take another one s, or you can take s power 2. Okay, so we can take s power 2 also, we can do it like this, s power 1, and the shifted version it is here x minus 1. One more, if you take operator, it will give x minus x of n minus 2. Okay, so this is your the signal, desired signal, so this one. Okay, so in the similar way you just take x of n and give it to s power minus 1, and another one if you give it to the system s power minus 2, and here you will get x of n plus 1, and here you will get x of n plus 2. Okay, so similarly, so these two signals we need to add it, and you will get the signal y of n. Okay, is this fine? So, and similar way, just to take one more example. So y of n, which is equal to 1 over 3 into x of n plus 3 plus x of n plus 1 by 2 into x of n minus 1. So do it this one. How we will get? So how we will do it? So just take y of n, which is so just x of n you take, and go on shifting that. X of n. So now apply to. So what we need to give? So n plus 3. So that is s power minus 3 you just give, and you will get x of n plus 3. Okay, and the same x of n you give it to s. Okay, we will get x of n minus 1. Okay, so this is how we will get. And what you need to do here, you need to pass it through 1 by 2, because the signal which is here, it is multiplied by 1 by 2, and pass it to 1 by 2, then you will get 1 by 2 into x of n minus 1. Okay, so this signal we need to add it to the summation, otherwise so it will become wrong. So this summation you will get the half into x of n minus 1, and the same x of n minus 3, and one more signal which is direct x of n. Okay, so this is actually x of n, and this is x of n plus 3, and this will be half into x of n minus 1. So this will give your output signal y of n. Okay, is it fine? Any doubt in this?
Sir, that 1 by 3.
Yeah, yes, sorry. So here it is 1 by 3 is there, no? So here we need to insert that 1 by 3 scaling. So here you need to put 1 by 3. You have to pass it on the amplitude scaling of 1 by 3, then only you will get the y of n. Sorry, I didn't notice that. Okay, so this is how we will get the output y of n. Okay, So this is what the interconnection operation, how we will going to shift the operator shift we will going to use in the system interconnects. So is it fine? Any doubt? So now we will just take another example in terms of u of n. So you just form the system interconnects by using this equation, that is u of n minus 1 plus u of n plus 3 plus u of n. So here the signal x of n, it is defined it as u of n, that's it. So earlier we have taken it as signal itself x of n, and here the signal just in terms of u of n we have defined. So now the form the interconnects. So how we will get y of n, so x of, that is u of n, right? So u of n, and this is one signal, and if you go for the shifting of one time, that is s, you will get u of n minus 1, and similarly you take s power minus 3 and you will get u of n plus 3. Okay, so if you just do it summation, you will get the signal. This is your y of n. Okay, so this is how the interconnects can be done. So another important point I need to tell here, so you can define the unit impulse function, that u of n, that unit that function in terms of discrete time u of n, that will be equal to, so k equal to minus infinity to n u of, that is del of k, sorry, so this is del of k, which is given by u of n. So if you just plot this one, so this summation what it will give, so del of minus infinity, so since the u of n exists only from 0, so all other values are 0. Okay, so whenever k becomes 0, then the unit impulse will start. Okay, so this is at k equal to 0, and del of 0 it will become 1, and similarly like this. So for every value of k, so this discrete impulse it will go on. So this is what the unit step we can define in terms of del function. Okay, is it understood? So any doubt? So now, okay, so now we will stop here and we will continue the properties of the systems in the next class, and I will just give the problems on this in the Moodle. You just try to solve some of the simple problems, and at the end we will solve some other different types of problems also, that is some of the complicated problems in all the whatever we discussed till now, that is either operations or periodicity or even the other functions like complex sinusoids. So everything we will solve one by one, and some of the little bit complicated problems after completing this theory part. Okay, so then we will stop here and we will continue in the next class. Is it fine? Understood? So any doubt till now?